My interview with Fred Lambert, the editor-in-chief and the head writer for Electrek.co, is coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric!
Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, that's perfectly fine. Just go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. Now, as you know, I pride myself in being as unbiased as possible for the entire electric car community. And I mean, I've been criticized both ways, I guess, but that's I guess makes me feel that I'm doing the good job in there. And I've also tried to collaborate as many other influencers, vloggers, whatever you want to call us, as possible. Unfortunately, this industry in this niche of electric cars, it's kind of hard to come by, though. I've had interviews with quite a few people. I think I've had the most interviews with the most of the influencers. You can see it in my video library, including Zach and Jesse and quite a few many others. And now my interview is with Fred Lambert. Now, for a while, I kind of put Fred in the Tesla fanboy category, and that's what his publication kind of seemed to me. But at the same time, because of that, I'm assuming they got a lot of great inside scoop from Tesla. But recently, I feel like Fred started to actually open up to the entire electric car community, reporting on other brands fairly. Also, some critique towards Tesla as well, which, they deserve once in a while. So I actually started reading his articles more. And now recently, as you know, he had a bit of a sort of a run-in with Elon on Twitter. Because he called him out for lowering the price of the configuration that he just happened to just get from Tesla by $5,000, and Elon Musk ended up kind of saying, "Okay, we will give that $5,000 difference back to those of you guys who are early adopters." I think that was the right thing to do. I don't know why Fred got all this hate on Twitter for it. I made a separate video about it because I actually fully supported him in that. As you know, Steve Jobs had to apologize when they did the same thing with the first generation of iPhone, when Apple did that back in the day. If you guys remember that. So, but yeah, and I ran into Fred at the Rivian unveiling in Los Angeles on Monday, and we ended up having a really great chat behind the camera, but he was also kind enough to get on camera with me and have an interview. I will play it for you guys just in 1 second. Of course, before that, I want to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Climate Exchange. It's a nonprofit organization that's moving us towards the low carbon economy, but they're also conducting this really cool raffle, and where they're raffling off 3 brand new Teslas, and they're not selling more than 4,000 tickets. So your chances are pretty damn good. There's a link in the description of this video where you can go ahead and purchase them. They're $250 each, and I believe it's limited to the United States. It's going to happen on the New Year's Eve, so these will make great gifts to your friends and family, co-workers, and maybe employees. Just as long as you're aware, they might be driving a nicer car than you do if they end up winning this. And even if not, you will be contributing to a great cause. So thank you for sponsoring this video and this channel, Climate Exchange. And without further ado, here's my interview with Fred Lambert, the editor-in-chief of Electrek.co.
A lot of great EV news in LA this week, and the biggest one is probably right behind us right now.
I agree. Why don't you tell everybody why do you think is the biggest news this week?
Well, an electric pickup truck from Rivian, I think, is going to have a big impact on the American auto market in general, because we know that pickup trucks, they represent the bulk of the profit. It's the biggest profit center for American automakers right now. And introducing an all-electric version of a pickup truck is going to have a big impact as long as it's done well. And so far, what we're seeing from Rivian is that they're doing things well right now. I mean, energy capacity through the roof, performance, nothing that you can expect from a pickup truck, from a gas-powered pickup truck. Now, the biggest concern for most people is going to be the utility aspect of the pickup truck. Are they going to be able to compete on the towing capacity, on payload capacity, on just general utility? And so far, so good.
Do you think this is the first time Tesla might be behind in part of a market?
Well, we haven't seen much from the Tesla pickup truck so far, so all we know is a few comments from Elon Musk, and Tesla generally delivers on the product level, so if Elon Musk is hyping out the pickup truck, it's probably going to be a great product, but in terms of timeline, Rivian certainly has the advantage right now because they are already on the unveiling. They are already taking reservation for the R1T. So it's still planned for production in late 2020. So Tesla might not be behind in terms of production of the another pickup truck, but right now in terms of mind share, I think Rivian is starting to get a little bit of a lead here.
I have the same feeling. Let's see what Tesla does. But okay, so speaking of Tesla, you just got yourself a Performance Model 3.
Correct.
How's that going? Except, I mean, once you can get in, once the door handles are unfrozen.
Yeah, that's my main issue right now. Being in Quebec, we have a pretty tough winter, which already started. Well, not officially, but the weather is there for the winter. And yeah, I've been having some issues. Tesla is quite proactive. Before we have to give them that, even though a lot of people are saying that maybe Tesla didn't do all the winter testing that they should have done. I probably agree with that.
Like trying to get into the car.
Yeah, well, maybe they focus a little bit too much on the winter driving performance, which so far is great. But in terms of like just leave your car in the cold for a whole night, maybe they didn't do that. Well, I don't know for sure. But a lot of owners right now in Quebec are seeing issues. If you don't garage your car, you're gonna have some problems. But like I said, Tesla is being very proactive. They already released a software update that has solved part of the issue, which is if you're the main problem is that, of course, if you're familiar with the frameless design of the Model 3 doors, the window has to go down a little bit in order for you to open the door, which was the same for the Model S. You have a Model S, you know about it, but I have a Model S too. I never had those kind of issue with the car, at least not to that level. But now with the new update, the windows stay down once the car is shut off. So even if the windows froze, you can still get inside your car. Then so once you start driving a little bit and the cabin heats up, you should be able to get the windows back up again. But I mean, at the hardware level, it looks like a weakness, really.
Now, this is not the only issue you had recently. As a matter of fact, you caused quite a controversy, enough for me to make a separate video about it.
Yeah.
And actually, we're on the same page. We're not always on the same page. We're definitely on the same page there. How is that being resolved? What kind of feedback you got on it? And do you know if Tesla's been starting to get those $5,000 difference back to the customers that Elon Musk personally promised to you, actually?
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of messages from Model 3's performance owners that actually are thankful that someone brought up the issue that it was a wrong move for Tesla to sort of devalue the car for the early reservation holders, really, that put a deposit months ago, years ago in some cases, and so quickly after starting production of the new car to devalue it like that. They were able to do it. It's perfectly within their rights and everything. It's just not the right thing to do because you're just trying to squeeze more money out of early adopters instead of just fixing the right price and going after a more stable gross margin for every buyer, really. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of messages from multi-person holders that are getting the $5,000 back. You can just contact the Tesla customer service, apparently, and most people they link to the tweet that Elon sent to me, and they reimburse you easily, really.
Okay, excellent. So now, I know you guys been talking a lot about Tesla in the last few years, but lately you've been expanding more about a lot of electric cars like this one. I mean, Tesla is obviously an undisputed king of electric cars right now, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But just like, there was an iPhone in the beginning, but there was an Android and Samsung.
Sure.
Who do you think is going to be the biggest competitor? I don't like using the Tesla killers. No one to kill Tesla, right?
No.
Despite what Elon Musk tells HBO, right? But who do you think is going to be actually, a front runner as far as the competition?
I mean, so there's two big groups that you can separate people in, like the legacy automakers that are going electric, and you have the startups like Rivian here. I mean, when it comes to pickup trucks, I think startups like Rivian, but we also seen other people like Bollinger, for example, and Workhorse. I think for the pickup market, the startups are the one to watch right now because GM, Chrysler, and Ford, they're just not there yet with the. As far as we know, they haven't even greenlit an all-electric pickup program yet, so they're far behind. There is still some good investment from legacy automakers. They are the ones with the money here, so they can invest that toward the EV. So a lot of people are joking about Volkswagen being big on press releases about electric vehicle and not much to show with the production, but they're coming pretty strong. I mean, we've seen them convert huge factories to electric production. So I think Volkswagen is going to be in the game for a while. They are going to come back from that Dieselgate scandal. Starting with 2020, I think we're going to see Volkswagen as a big electric player. And I'm talking about the whole Volkswagen group too, like Audi, Porsche, and they're gonna make a big difference, I think, in the EV world.
So, we're at the end of 2018. 2019 is definitely going to be probably a coming out party for a lot of startups and legacy makers catching up. What is your prediction as far as what does Tesla do next year, as far as Model Y and maybe a pickup truck of their own? And what do you think will be the biggest surprise or the biggest advance from the rest of the car industry next year?
Well, the biggest surprise, I mean, what I'd like to see, what would be surprising is some legacy automakers confirming some large production volumes for electric vehicles, because a lot of times we're seeing them launch EVs and we've been talking about a lot about compliance cars, just the minimum you can get to make the regulators happy and get those carb credit and stuff like that.
You mean you want them to sell outside of California?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, a lot of markets, they pretty much need to introduce a new ZEV mandate in order to get all the models and everything. So that's a real bummer. But 2019, what's going to be a big change, I think, is going to be legacy automakers moving away from that compliance car and going with volume production, starting like with the Audi e-tron is going to be a good example, I think, and a bunch of other automakers too. The new EVs are coming out. They are full-fledged all-electric vehicle program. They are not just compliance car anymore. So I think that's going to be the big difference in 2019.
Well, cool. Listen, thanks for talking to me. This is the first time we're actually on camera together.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, even though we met before. But for those like 3 viewers of mine who still don't know what you guys do, why don't you tell them where they can find you and what can they expect?
It's electrek.co. We are the biggest electric vehicle website out there. Everything, like you said, we are mostly focused on Tesla, but we are branching out as fast as other company comes on the market, like Rivian down there, which I'm pretty excited about. And yeah, you can check us out at electrek.co.
I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hopefully we'll have another one, because there's so many different things that I would love to pick his brain on. But it was a pretty busy event. We both were trying to network with people and get our scoop and get our stories. So it was nice chatting with him on camera, and I hope to do it again. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm definitely interested to know. And what other influencers would you like to see on my show? Of course, I can reach out and see if it's possible. I love these interviews, especially with people who I don't always agree on. I think it creates the best conversation, and it's good for the entire community. So thank you to Fred. I will see you guys next time. And remember to stay charged.